With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back once again, race fans, here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Tonight, Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series fires things off here for round number 2 in the chase for season number 2. Cut-off round here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Looks like your top 8 are gonna be moving on the way they run. Few drivers not making it out here to the track tonight. Andy Starcher, Greg Deitch, as well as Kevin Burrows and Ryan Branchew, all not able to make the trip here to Kansas. So those 4 championship drivers will end up out of their chase, their championship hopes and dreams coming to an end here in round number 1. How you doing? How you feeling? out there in TV land. Race fans, glad you could all join us here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network. As always, Darkside Dave in the Cave, bringing you all the calls from the track side here tonight. Gonna be quite an event. Let's see which one of these drivers are gonna tackle this 1.5 mile D-shaped oval for the Twister 110 here in Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. And it looks like qualifying already in the book. Quick time goes to John McMillan Jr., so he will start inside a row number 1. And with that being said, race fans, looks like it's time to head down trackside for your national anthem. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Back trackside as the drivers make their way to the starting grid down there on pit road. Few of the drivers still yet to come through pre-race inspection. We'll go ahead and let them take care of that business while we run down this official business for you. Coming in to tonight's race, round number 2 in the chase here in season number 2 for the Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. John McMillan Jr. in the 15 sits with the most points coming into tonight's race, winning last week. So can John Jr. make it a 4th win on the season? We'll have to wait and see. Jason Branch right there behind him in a second, very close. Jim Thorndike, Todd McGregor, Donald Bennett, Ron Schutte right there in that 6th spot. Larry Poling, Chad Lancaster, Ryan Branchew. I fumbled on his name a little bit earlier. There you can see where that cutoff begins. Ryan Branchew, Greg Knight, as well as Kevin Burrows, Andy Starcher. Those are the last drivers in your championship chase. Last cutoff race, and all 4 of those drivers not able to make it to the track. So those will be the 4 drivers cut from the championship chase here in season number 2 for Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series, continuing with the best of the rest. John Sr. Big Mac McMillan right there, top of the speed chart, sitting 13th right now in the point standings. Marshall Scully, Don Kidder just behind him. Multiple winner Joshua Kanata late on the scene, but he made his way up through the point standings right there in 16. Michael Atkins Jr. no longer with the Arca Menards Series. He's moved up into the Performance Motorsports Truck Series, as well as the RB Riggs Custom Computers Xfinity Series here in Swift Motorsports. So a few drivers no longer in a championship hunt or run. But all the drivers on track, they've got something at stake, and that's bragging rights here tonight, they can walk away with the checkered flag in the Twister 110 right here from Kansas Speedway. And oh my goodness, they're loud tonight. Bells in the background. You know what that familiar sound means. It's time to run down tonight's starting lineup, walking away with the pole position inside row number 1. Quick time in qualifying 31:59 goes to that 15 of John McMillan Jr. The iHeartRadio 28 of Ron Schutte gonna line up just to his outside pole position there in second place. Inside row number 3 here tonight, the 71 of Todd McGregor. Keystone Motorsports' very own 31, Donald Bennett gonna slot in that fourth starting position back there, row number 3. The 4X Racing driver, Jason Branch. He's going to be followed just to his outside by Pirate Gaming Racing's 13, Ryan Douglas. The GTR Simulator 59 of Jim Thorndike going to slot in that 7th position. Big Mac right there in 8th. Larry Poling inside row number 5 and rounding out your top 10, Robert Gillard. The Cuban Missile Rocket up there in race control, Roy Fernandez as well as Gary Wells. Big shout out to both of those guys, keeping all the drivers straight out there tonight. And looks like pace car down away. We're set to fire this thing off, and green flag flies for the first time here tonight in the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. Sorry, had a little bit of a squirrel moment there on that start. Side-by-side battle between Todd McGregor and Ron Schutte. Schutte stuck to that outside. Not a very good start of the race. Schutte going to drop from second back to third. Drivers making some moves through the rear of the field. There you can see Jim Thorndike. He's looking to the inside of the 13 of Ryan Douglas. Donald Bennett dropping 3 spots on that start of the race, so not getting going on the cold tires. Air pressure may be a little bit off, but gonna build over the course of this run. The 31 of Bennett back now in 7th. There you can see your pole sitter, your race leader, John McMillan Jr. already stepping away to just about 3/4 of a second over Todd McGregor, who still got Ron Schutte just behind him. Taking a look back from them, you can find this battle on the speedway. Jim Thorndike battling with Jason Branch, Ryan Branchu in tow. Donald Bennett looks to the outside now on that 13. Can he take the 6th spot away? Not going to get there just yet is Bennett, and struggling on the high side is that GTR Simulator 59 of Thorndike back behind them. Big Mac starting to close in. John McMillan Sr. right there running in the 8th position. Larry Poling in tow as well. In trouble with the 45. He's not able to make it any further. He goes down pit road. He scored out of tonight's race already back behind pit. Also a mechanical failure very early puts an end to that 45's race evening. Still packed up back here around that 4th, 5th, 6th position, all the way back now to 9th, as Larry Poling is just about 0.3 of a second off of John McMillan Sr. running in the 8th spot. And Jim Thorndike, he is dropping like a rock right now. Thorndike losing a ton of spots. Still your closest battles on the speedway right here, packed up with these drivers. Ron Schutte just out in front of Ryan Douglas. Jason Branch in that 22 Serve Pro machine. The 31 of Bennett tucked in behind him. Thorndike gonna settle in back in the 7th position. I said he was falling like a rock, but he initially started right there, right where he runs in the 7th position. He gained a ton there on the first 2 or 3 laps, but since has given it all up. These drivers all now beginning to settle themselves in. Looks like we're about to see a long green flag run here tonight in the Twister 110 for Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacing Paints Arca Menards Series. Gonna jump around the track just a little bit, see if we can't get a little bit of camera angles going on out there. Let's see how it all goes. You know, sometimes Dave gets it right and sometimes Dave doesn't, you know. Looking down that right side just to the inside cockpit view there, you can see that 13 of Ryan Douglas just out in front of Jason Branch. Good little perspective here. Looking back at the driver, you can see just how busy their hands are on the wheel, and you also catch a little bit of what's going on behind them, how hard they're working to keep that machine tucked in and where it's at running right now on the track in the 4th position for Douglas. Jump back outside of the car for just a moment because it looks like this pack is slowly beginning to accordioning itself back together here. Todd McGregor in the 71, he dropped a spot there. Since taking that 2nd spot, Ron Schutte took it back over. Now I apologize. Todd McGregor sitting right there with Ryan Douglas nipping at his heels. Douglas looked a little bit low there in 3 and 4. Looked to take that spot away again. Diving lower on entry, almost hugging that white line. Just to the inside left rear quarter panel of that 71. That's going to upset the handling just a little bit, and that's also going to allow Jason Branch in the 22 Serve Pro machine to gain just a little bit more ground on them. Donald Bennett starting to close in now as well. Battle gonna start to rage at the front of this field for the top spot. 0.2 of a second now separate your race leader John McMillan Jr. from Ron Schutte. And as something went on inside of that 15, he was just about 1 second in front of Schutte before Schutte made his run back up and around Todd McGregor, who's now back in 3rd and right here. You can see it all over that rear deck lid. We'll see if we can get the onboard camera shot of that. Nope. Well, that's the front of the car. Let's go to the rear. There it is. Shot looking back from that 15 of John McMillan Jr. You can see just how close that iHeartRadio Toyota camera AYERS iRacing Paints Arca Menards Series machine is to being able to take over that top spot. Will we see a new race leader? Not just yet. Still, green flag racing here at Kansas Speedway. No problems, no issues for anybody on the track. Clean and green so far as we continue around this wide open speedway at this point in time for these drivers. Doesn't sound like very many of them are getting out of the throttle very much. Maybe just a slight roll on the entries. Oh, big moment there. The 13 of Ryan Douglas. He has a big time moment there on the speedway. Almost into the outside wall, trying to catch it. That shot him all the way back across the track towards the inside wall, down on the apron, and that's not where you want to be, down there in all the dirt, dust, marbles. You don't want to get there. Car much harder to hang on to once you get all those marbles and nastiness on those hot tires. And now there you can see just how much it affected that 13. He falls to the clutches of Jim Thorndike, who is slowly making his way back towards the front of the field. Donald Bennett now looks to take that spot away from Douglas as well. Bennett to the bottom. He's going to make that pass look easy as they work their way out of 4 back to the stripe to begin lap number 14 out of the 110 scheduled in tonight's official race distance. And oh, Ryan Douglas contact with the outside wall once again, and now Big Mac, that's 75 of John McMillan Sr. He's going to make his way by, and that iRacing sponsored Arca Menards Series machine. Not much going on at the front. The battle, the gap has remained pretty much the same, right at about a tenth and a half between Ron Schutte and your race leader, John McMillan Jr. That 15 has looked pretty cranked up all night long. Doesn't look like anybody really has an overall dominant car here so far, as Ron Schutte was able to, once he could get the car settled in, he's been able to track down John Jr. here at the front of the field, and they have been able to step away right at about 1 second between Schutte and Todd McGregor, who now has a battle on his hands between himself and Jason Branch. Branch looking to put that Serve Pro 22 up a little further through the field and into a podium spot. Looking to the inside, he's going to make it look easy out of 4. Little bit of a slide job. Not quite a slide job, but sliding up in front, up the track. He's going to take that third and final podium spot away as these drivers run right now. John McMillan Jr., Ron Schutte, Jason Branch, Todd McGregor, and Jim Thorndike round out your top 5. Front to back on the speedway, just 7.5 seconds between your race leader and the driver last on the track right now, last in the timing and scoring. The 69 of Larry Bowling running, as we said, right there at about 7.5 seconds off of your race leader, but it does look like Bowling's got a little bit of strategy going on here. Looks like this is not from any damage, any incidents. Looks like he is methodically working his way a little bit quicker. The pace is beginning to pick up lap after lap for Bowling, so maybe looking for a little bit of fuel mileage race here, as this does have that look. It does have that feel of being a flag race, clean and green all night long here from Kansas Speedway. And the Twister 110 coming up tomorrow night, the NEM 118. That's right, another cutoff race here in Swift Motorsports at Kansas Speedway for the Performance Motorsports Truck Series. We'll have round number 2 once again tomorrow night, so don't forget to set your reminders. And a matter of fact, we can make it easy for you. If you haven't already, give these drivers a thumbs up, click subscribe, and smash that bell. That's how you'll know when we go live each and every time here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it's myself, Darkside Dave in the Cave, or anybody else back at the Turn 3 headquarters. We appreciate each and every one of you, each and every time you come out. So with all that being said, if you haven't already, toss these AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series drivers a thumbs up. Now the speed beginning to show, the consistency of the line showing for John Jr. He has begun to step away just a little bit on Ron Schutte. That gap was hovering and hanging right around that 10th to 2/10. That is now bounced up to right around 7 to 8/10 each lap. For the past 3 laps, it was there. Now knocking on the door of a 1 second lead is that 15 of John Jr. Ron Schutte still sitting right there in second. He's got himself a 1 second advantage over Jason Branch running in third. Todd McGregor still solid 4th place right now. And Big Mac, that's 75 of John McMillan Sr. Let's jump back here to him. Highlight this driver. He is the man on the move, up 3 spots from where he started tonight's race, slowly picking the field off. He's been able to get by Ryan Douglas, Donald Bennett, as well as Jim Thorndike. So all those drivers struggling a little bit now that we've got 22 laps on the tires as we work our way around the track on lap number 23 out of the 110 scheduled in tonight's official race distance. We'll jump back towards the front of the field here in just a few moments. Let this battle fizzle on out. And now Big Mac gonna go ahead and take about a half a second advantage over Jim Thorndike. Right around a half a second advantage for the race leader. Back to this man on screen, front and center, the iHeartRadio Toyota Camry, piloted by Ron Schutte. He's had a solid run so far here this year in Swift Motorsports Ayers iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. Shooty sitting, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was fifth or sixth in the point standings coming into tonight's race. And with a few of the drivers, as we mentioned in pre-race, not making the trip to the track, Andy Starcher's going to fall out of the championship. Greg Deitch as well as Kevin Burrows. All three of those drivers were in a must-win situation to keep their playoff hopes and dreams alive, and all three of those drivers not able to make the trip across country here to Kansas Speedway before the short shoot over there to Kentucky next Monday night. Ryan Branch, who also had a shot at cracking into that top 8, moving on next week. And Chad Lancaster not here as well. And Lancaster was one of those drivers, a bubble driver, if you will. So if Branchew had showed up tonight, Lancaster would have been on the outside looking in. But is what it is. Drivers not able to make the trip, so they'll fall to the wayside as far as the championship hunt is concerned. We stay green flag racing around this speedway, 1.5 mile D-shaped oval here in Kansas. Ron Shooty continues to lose just a little bit of ground lap after lap, now back to about a 1.5 second advantage for McMillan Jr. Up there at the front, Jason Branch able to step away big time from Todd McGregor. Branch right there in that Serve Pro 22 machine, looking through the timing and scoring second fastest on the speedway last time by. And Ron Shooty was actually your fastest driver last time by. Your race leader ran a 33:53. Shooty running a 33:33. So fastest on the speedway once again that time by, a 33:61 for your race leader. Shooty with a 33:48. Fastest on the speedway is that iHeartRadio Toyota Camry. Gonna try to jump around the track just a little bit more, as it looks like green flag pit stops underway. Jim Thorndike down to pit road last time by. Jason Branch now gonna bring that 22 down. When will this bring the rest of the field down? Will that cause or pull the trigger on the green flag pit cycle? How long will John Jr. be willing to risk the chances of losing that race lead here if he lets that undercut run for too long? Will Ron Shooty come this time? Thorndike was a little bit off of pace before he made his pit stop. Looks like pit road was pretty nice to him. I say pretty nice. Pit road police not popping Thorndike for anything at this point in time, so he'll rejoin the track. One lap down back there in the 9th position, still up to speed though. He's going to get himself back on the lead lap once this green flag pit cycle runs itself through. Jason Branch also down a lap as Ryan Douglas comes to pit road this time by, so that's going to let the field go around yet again. John McMillan Jr. continues to lead tonight's race, has led all 30 laps that are on the board as we work our way around the track on lap 31 out of the 110 scheduled in tonight's official race distance here from Kansas Speedway in the Twister 110 for Swift Motorsports Ayers iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. Down and out of his pit now, Ryan Douglas begins to make his way back out on the track. Your top 5 still yet to come down pit road. Make that your top 6 as Larry Poling in the 69 has yet to come to pit road. And we've seen a little bit of strategy out of Poling early in the race. Looks like he's looking to extend this first green flag run. 32 laps in now. And when will your race leader come down pit road? We'll have to wait to see when McMillan pulls the trigger. Doesn't look like he's going to do so this time by, so Shooty will stay out on the track as well. And slowly but surely, now Ron Shooty begins to lose a little bit of time to your race leader. Todd McGregor going to bring his 71 down pit road that time by. Nobody else down to pit road, so your top 4 still yet to come down for fuel and tires. Larry Poling gonna call an audible, switch it up, go down pit road this time by. So Poling also joins the crowd for the fuel and tires. Ron Schutte gonna break off this time by. Schutte down pit road, he'll give up that second position. Now, the McMillan clan leading the race 1 and 2 on the track. Junior in front, senior behind, and here comes Jason Branch in that 22 trying to get himself back on the lead lap. If senior stays out, looks like Branch will look to take back that spot on the lead lap. John Jr. gonna stay out on track. John McMillan Jr. extending this run quite a while. He's gonna stay out, as well as John McMillan Sr. Donald Bennett also yet to come down pit road. He's going to peel off and come this time by. So that 31 of Bennett gets it woed up down on the pit road. We'll have to wait and see how that one plays out on pit road for him. And here is that 15 of John McMillan Jr. still staying out. He'll complete another lap before coming down pit road. And you know, the double-edged sword to that undercut is this. Yes, you get to make up a ton of time on the front end, but your race leader, this gentleman right here on screen, has been to victory lane 3 times so far this season. And when he's got the freshest tires late in the race, you better watch out, because he will move right to the front. He's going to peel off the racetrack and come to pit road this time by. What will Big Mac do? The 75, John McMillan Sr. He's going to go ahead and peel off, come to pit road as well. I believe that will put the field in the hands of this man right here. The 22 of Jason Branch. Branch looks to take over the race lead. There you see, just off in front of him, the 69 Rowdy Energy Toyota, piloted by Larry Poling here in Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series Chase Race number 2 in round number 1. Dreams crushed here tonight. Drivers eliminated. Ryan Branchu, Kevin Burrows, Greg Dykes, Andy Starcher gonna fall to the wayside. They no longer will be vying for a championship when we hit Phoenix Speedway Phoenix Raceway a little bit later on, in a matter of about 3 weeks here for the Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series drivers. First, they're gonna have to conquer Kentucky next week, and then the lady in black steps on the scene. She's gonna smack a few of those drivers off of their championship dreams and turn a few of these drivers' nights into nightmares in 2 weeks when we hit Darlington Raceway down there just outside of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's going to be a beautiful night under the lights here in the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series for Swift Motorsports. We continue to watch this battle between Jason Branch and Jim Thorndike as we've got a new race leader. Jason Branch going to take that top spot away just 2 laps ago after John McMillan Jr. finally came down pit road. And when we look at the difference in the tire strategy, I tell you what, why don't we go ahead and pop that up on screen for you if we can. Looking over there, looks like everybody's getting that all taken care of and set up for us. There you go. There's that graphic on pit road. You can see just how much older those tires are for Jason Branch over John Jr. on the pit road just about 4 laps ago. So a very, very big discrepancy already. You can see it, almost a 10-lap difference there. 28 laps on the tires on the first run for Jason Branch. Just behind him, Todd McGregor pitted with 32 laps on his tires. Jim Thorndike made up a ton of ground coming to pit road very early, but he's going to begin to fall to the wayside. to the fresh tires behind him. The McMillan clan coming through the field. Drivers continue this long green flag run here tonight from Kansas Speedway. This 1.5 mile D-shaped oval has brought us a little bit of strategy, a little bit of games being played out there tonight. Who's going to have the bragging rights at the end of the Twister 110 here in Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series? And as we've completed our first round of green flag pit stops, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break, but you won't miss any of the action as we go side by side with your Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints side-by-side box.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for a press. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaw.
Back trackside after a brief commercial break here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Thanks for joining us here tonight, race fans. Glad you could all be here as we ride around the track on board with your race leader, that Surf Pro 22 of Jason Branch. You can hear him having to get out of the throttle just a little bit there in 1 and 2. He'll make his way back down the back stretch once again as we jump outside of the car. The 69 of Larry Poling in that Rowdy Energy machine tucked in just behind Poling, being scored as the first and only driver off of the lead lap. And with that being said, just about at the halfway point here tonight. So why don't we run down a few of the driver highlights here tonight. Sitting in the top spot, man on screen out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Can he get the job done and stop talking to me? In second place, looks like Jason Branch doing what he's got to do to put that Serve Pro in the best position that he can. He enjoys a 2.5 second race lead over this man right here, running in the second spot, the iHeartRadio AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series machine, piloted by Ron Schutte, right there in that second spot, right where he started tonight's race. But he's got your pole sitter and your dominating car before that round of green flag pit stops closing in right there, nipping at his heels. There's that 15 of John McMillan Jr., and he is one of the fastest drivers on the speedway. That time by, he was about 4/10 faster than your race leader. So McMillan Jr. on his way to the front. Driver just behind them, back in fourth. We've seen him under that commercial break, that side-by-side commercial break. We've seen the issues with Todd McGregor into the outside wall. And looks like a little bit of a connection issue there for McGregor for just a brief moment, but now he drops one spot and runs in the fourth position. Rounding out your top five, here you go, the GTR Simulator machine, piloted by Jim Thorndike. That 59 has driven his way back into a spot inside the top five, started back in the 7th position, now running strong after that first round of green flag pit stops. Going to continue to highlight the field. Driver just behind him, there you can see Big Mac, that 75 of John McMillan Sr. He ran all the way up to the second spot during that first green flag run. How far will he be able to advance his way up through this field during this second green flag run? He's got some of the freshest tires on the speedway. We'll have to wait and see what he can do and how he gets the job done for the rest of the night. Driver not really right on him. Big gap back to this driver right here, the 31 of Donald Bennett out of Kutztown, PA, the Turn 3 Racing Network Bromley design draft top Keystone Motorsports driver, piloting that 31 machine around the track. And you can see the torn up right front. He's had contact with that outside wall. Bennett struggling here after contact with that outside wall, and his night just got a little bit longer. 13 of Ryan Douglas sitting just behind him, the 30-year-old out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Go fast and have fun is the motto for that 13 of Douglas, and he'll try to get that Great House machine just a little bit further up through the field here tonight. He's got his Dodge looking for some more spots. He gave up a ton of ground with some slide contact with the outside wall, fell behind the 8 ball a little bit there in that first green flag run, and now Douglas looks to try to grind his way back towards the front. Driver sitting one lap down, only car one lap down, as your race leader now going to come to pit road. That's going to give that top spot to Ron Schutte, who continued to keep Larry Poling down off of the lead lap in that lucky dog position. So just as it looked like Poling was going to get himself back on the lead lap the good old-fashioned way, the hard way, Schutte looks to the inside and says, no you don't. That's going to be it for the driver highlights and rundown on the field here tonight. Going to be a close battle here in just a handful of laps. I am pretty sure Ron Schutte is going to have John McMillan Jr. right there on his rear deck. Let's see. No, look like there might have been some contact there for just a brief moment with Ron Schutte, as the cameraman keeps wanting us to go back to driver making his way off of pit road. Now Jason Branch, another undercut. Let's see how this one plays out for him. Looks like there's going to be quite a difference on the tires about 20 laps different on the tires this time by, so we'll have to wait and see how all that shakes out for Branch. Ron Schutte able to keep the gap, able to keep the distance at this point in time as John McMillan Jr. stuck behind Larry Poling, back marker on the speedway. Only driver listed off of the lead lap besides the drivers that have already been to pit road for the second time. Jim Thorndike both, as well as Jason Branch, the 59, the 22, they're going to go ahead, come down pit road, get their full service fuel and tires, and that should carry them somewhere around lap number about 80, 85, and then they will make their final pit stop. These drivers right here, Ron Schutte, John McMillan Jr., they're going to be able to come down to pit road for just their second stop right around lap number 70, 75, somewhere in that range, as more drivers break off and come down pit road. Ryan Douglas brings the 13 down for service. Todd McGregor in the 71 also going to break for pit road that time by, so McGregor looking to join those drivers on that undercut strategy, shortening this second green flag run, because you are going to have to stop a total of 3 times, so it looks like drivers may be electing to go ahead and put that short run right here in the middle of tonight's race as we work our way off of turn 4, back across the stripe. The 28 takes lap number 62 out of the 110 scheduled in tonight's official race distance. The Twista 110, brought to you by Swift Motorsports and the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series. And you know, we talked about Jason Branch being able to finally break into pit road if he can somehow manage to get himself back onto the lead lap and back at the front of this field. But this man right here, Ron Schutte, he has yet to come to victory lane as well. So can Schutte finally break into that winner's column late in the season? And after John McMillan Jr. was able to close that gap on this 28, he has dropped off of the pace. Not sure if he ate his tires up on his run back to the front to get that second spot away. And we'll take a look back here with that 15. And oh, he's pounded. He has pounded that outside wall. Damage on the right front. Dominating driver in that first green flag run there now has trouble, and he's gonna lose quite a bit of time to some of these drivers that begin to close in. There you can see Jason Branch. He's gonna make his way by. He'll be one step closer to putting himself back on to the lead lap. So as these laps continue to click off, these drivers continue to be caught off guard, maybe getting in a safe zone and overstepping the boundaries just a little bit. That 15 joins the drivers that have stuffed that right front into the outside wall. Jim Thorndike, as well as Donald Bennett, John McMillan Jr. I'm sorry, not Jim Thorndike, Todd McGregor put it into the outside wall. So 3 drivers stuffing it in the outside wall, and all 3 of those drivers were some of the fastest drivers on the track. Your race leader has done it. Todd McGregor in the 71, a solid run until running into that outside wall. He's dropped off of the pace. He's dropped down 1 lap as he has made his second stop. And what will John McMillan Jr. do? Looks like he's dropping to the bottom of the track, maybe possibly gonna look for pit road. Larry Poling able to get himself just 1 lap down, sitting in that lucky dog position still. As it looks like Ron Schutte, he's come to pit road. Larry Poling gonna come down to pit road. That will put the lead back in the hands of this man right here on screen, that 15 of John McMillan Jr. As now to the bottom of the speedway, there you can see Ryan Douglas. He'll get himself at least 1 of his laps back as he was being scored 2 laps down. Now just 1 lap down, back in the 9th position. Douglas looking to somehow overcome some trouble here from Kansas. Gonna jump around the track just a little bit. Let's see if we can't get you some more camera shots down there on the speedway. There you can see driver looking for pit road, looking through that window net, trying to focus in, see if he can't see it, get those marks right before he heads down pit road. Yet another onboard camera shot here with that 15 of John McMillan Jr. Do want to give a shout out to each and every one of these AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series drivers and teams for allowing us to put some of these great camera shots, action shots on the cars. Try to bring you all the great action here from Kansas Speedway. Gonna go to the front of the car now. There you can see that damage. You can see that right front peeled up on this iRacing sponsored 15 piloted by John McMillan Jr. He's going to continue out on the track. He's going to continue to stay on track, continue to try to put more of these drivers one lap down, but Jason Branch, there you can see him just off in the distance. He was able to put himself back onto the lead lap. So now just 3 drivers remaining on your lead lap as we take a bird's eye view over the hood of that damaged 15 of John Jr. Gonna jump back off of the top of the car, go back track side once again. Here's that 15. Does he come down pit road this time by? Not gonna do so. He'll stay on the track. We begin lap number 71 out of the 110 scheduled in tonight's official race distance, and we are closing in to just about 40 laps to go. We have been green flag racing since the drop of the green flag to flag all night long. Can these drivers keep it clean and green all the way to the end, all 110 laps? There you can see Donald Bennett, who has already been down to pit road, listed 2 laps down, now just 1 lap down to your race leader. Bennett, also one of those drivers that has caught that outside wall. You can see the right front on Bennett, bent and battered, damaged. Tough break for that 31. He's going to be a little bit off of pace with all of that damage. Ryan Douglas was able to leapfrog him by coming to pit road right at about 7 laps prior. As there you can see yet another right front wounded warrior out there tonight. That 71, big time moment there off of turn 4. That 71 of Todd McGregor getting just a little bit sideways. He's going to work his way around your race leader and put himself back onto the lead lap. As Jim Thorndike now looks to the outside, Thorndike going to put himself back on the lead lap. So that now leaves us with 5 drivers left on the lead lap as Ron Schutte, the 28, looks like he is the first driver 1 lap down, and Schutte goes firing around that 15 as McMillan Jr. comes to pit road this time by on the brakes, woed up, no smoke off the tires. So good, solid entry there to pit road for both the McMillans as John Sr. going to come down as well. That's going to put us with the race leader right here. New race leader once again as he comes off of turn number 4. Field will go back into the hands of this man. Control of the race right now belongs to Jason Branch. A little anticlimactic round number 2, race number 2 here in round number 1 for Swift MotorSports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series chase for the championship in season number 2. Those 8 drivers moving on into round number 2 to chase the championship still already decided before we hit the track for the race here tonight, as Ryan Branchew, Kevin Burrows, Andy Sargent, Greg Deitch all not making the race here tonight. They'll fall to the wayside. Championship dreams over for all 4 of them, and 3 out of those 4 were in a must-win situation already. going to be a very tough task if they had made it here tonight. But looks like throwing in the towel are some of those drivers and teams on their championship hopes. So looks like we'll have to wait to see how it all unfolds next time here next Monday night. Same time, same channel, 8 o'clock Eastern here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We'll see who can start round number 2 off on the right foot, who has the hot shoe there at Kentucky Speedway next week here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. For Swift Motorsports, AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series, Jason Branch with the undercuts with the short pits. He has got himself a 6.5 second race advantage over the nearest driver, Ron Schutte, back there in the second spot, 6.6 seconds to be exact behind that 22 of Branch, but he is running laps about a second faster. Last time by, race leader 33.31 to Schutte's 32.29. This time by, speeds for your race leader. Lap time 33.35, so a consistent lap. But let's see what kind of lap Schutte can turn in back there with those fresh tires, and he's going to go with a 32.45, so still right about 1 second faster each lap. Drivers strung out just a little bit here tonight as we reach lap number 75 out of the 110 scheduled in tonight's official race distance, and we will have one attempt at a green-white checkered should we need it, but it looks like these drivers very well may keep this thing green and clean all night long. We'll have to continue to see if that will be the race trend this time by. We'll have just 31 laps remaining here in the Twist of 110 for Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. Not sure what the cameraman's doing over there. That was a little bit interesting. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're saying. Wow, why is that turn 3 car getting a lot of TV time here? Well, a little bit impartial, but trying to see how well Bennett's able to maintain with that right front damage. We'll go back around and look at a few of these other drivers that had some damage as Bennett comes to pit road. That's going to be one heck of a short pit there by Donald Bennett. He comes back down to pit road for what should be the third and final time of the race for him. We'll jump up here with John McMillan Jr. He did not fix a ton of that damages there. You can see his right front still kind of a parachute out there in front of that 15 right now. Another driver that was into that outside wall, and there you can see that parachute. It's a very distinct mark here tonight for these AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series drivers. Just kind of parachutes and bends that right front hood. There you can see, you can look almost right down at the engine on that machine right there. That's some heavy contact. That's some big time body work. And as Donald Bennett came to pit road that time by for the final time of the race, he's going to have quite a task at hand. He's got to make right around 30 laps on those tires. We have seen drivers able to make it 30 plus laps on the fuel in tires. Oh, and Jason Branch, Ron Schutte, they're not going to let anybody outsmart them with the strategies here tonight. They'll both come down pit road that time by. Todd McGregor will inherit the race lead. New race leader here tonight as that 71 takes the top spot for the first time. He's got Jim Thorndike and John McMillan Jr. right back behind him. Rounding out your top three, John McMillan Sr., Big Mac in the 75, sitting in that fourth position. Rounding out your top five now is that 13 of Ryan Douglas as Thorndike breaks off the track. He's going to come to pit road for the last time here, as we've got now just 26 laps remaining in the Twista 110. And oh my goodness, what has happened to Jason Branch? Pit road penalty has put Branch down on pit road for quite an extended stay. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Big time mistake here late in the race. Without a caution, Branch is not going to recover from this one. Oh my. That is some big time trouble there for Jason Branch, looking to make those undercuts work. He's been working at it all night long, but unfortunately that's going to come back to haunt him at the end. Coming to pit road, looked like it was a late decision to come to pit road, and that was the mistake of the evening. Branch falls off of the lead lap, being scored now 2 laps down to your race leader, Donald Bennett, now sitting just in front of him in the 8th spot. Bennett scored 1 lap down, as we've got just 3 drivers left on the lead lap, and those 3 drivers still have to come to pit road for their third and final stop. Will they ride it out? Or will they go ahead and come down the pit road here in the next handful of laps? We'll have to wait to see how it all shakes out with this man. John McMillan Jr. back to the point once again. He's been able to cycle his way back to the front of this field. After the green flag pit stops, right around halfway through the green flag run is where we've seen him reemerge as the race leader. Was your dominating car here in the first, before we had our first round of green flag pit stops, was your pole sitter here tonight as well. But it looks like he's going to fall to the wayside. Here comes a driver with some fresh tires. That iHeartRadio 28 of Ron Schutte looks to put himself back on the lead lap the good old-fashioned way. Now Schutte joins the trio of drivers that have yet to hit pit road back on the lead lap. And here also comes Todd McGregor. McGregor able to make up quite a bit of ground there on Schutte during that last round of green flag pit stops. And it looks like a little bit of strategy coming in to play with that call, because only in his pit box for just over 10 seconds, Todd McGregor staying just long enough to get the right sides and fuel in it. As the 13 of Ryan Douglas peels off the track, he'll bring his machine down pit road for the final service of the night with 20 laps to go here in the Twister 110 for Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. Now just 2 drivers left to come down pit road for their final fuel and service. John McMillan Jr. sitting in that top spot, man on screen right there, that 15 iRacing sponsored AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series machine. Driver behind him on the lead lap, yet to come to pit road as well, 6.6 seconds back. Big Mac, that's right, John McMillan Sr. in the 75 now runs in second, up 6 spots from where he started tonight's race, but he will give that spot up as he'll still have to make a stop here tonight. Ron Schutte, Todd McGregor back up there, 3rd and 4th. They're back on the lead lap. They are moving towards the front of this field at quite a blistering pace. 32-17 last time by for Schutte, last time by for your race leader John McMillan Jr. with a 33-30 So 1.2 seconds faster on the stopwatch that last time by for Schutte. He is on a charge. 22 seconds back from John McMillan Sr. He's got right at 30 seconds to get to the point. And as we get closer and closer to the final laps here tonight, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break. But don't worry, race fans, you won't miss any of the action as we go side by side with our Swift Motorsports side by side commercial box.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Back trackside after a brief commercial break, only missing full screen about 2 or 3 laps as we watch your race leader John McMillan Jr. stay out on the track. John McMillan Sr. also yet to come down to pit road. Last pitted back on lap number 73. They're going to be asking 37 laps on the fuel and tires. We'll have to see if that's been done so far here tonight. I'm not sure it's been stretched to that point, but we will take a look here as we're not the smartest group in the world. But there you go, 36, 37 laps on those first 2 stints for these 2 drivers at the front of the field. The McMillan clan looks to take the top 2 spots, and I think they very well may have worked themselves into quite a bit of a good race strategy here. I mean, that is one heck of a strategy. They've got themselves a 17 and 23 second advantage back to this man right here who's trying to make his way by Donald Bennett, that 28, piloted by Ron Schutte. Schutte looks to the inside. He'll take that spot on the speedway away. Not a battle for position as Bennett has been into the outside wall, damaged that 31 machine quite a little bit. So the Kutztown PA driver not having as good of a go here as maybe he would have liked at Kansas Speedway, but nonetheless, he sits back in the 6th position. First driver scored off of the lead lap, 1 lap down in that lucky dog position with just 10 laps remaining for this man. Driver at the front, we watched him dominate the first green flag run, cycle back to the front of the field during the second green flag run. Now under that 3rd green flag run, once again, familiar face, front of the field, your pole sitter coming in to tonight's race, your points leader coming into tonight's race. Last week's race winner coming in to tonight's race. The 15 of John McMillan Jr. looks to go back-to-back here in the first round of the chase. And how about getting hot at the right time? If he's able to do that, that is going to be unprecedented, and especially with that damage on that right front. Got quite a lead over his dad back there running in that second position. Big Mac on the track. The 75 of John McMillan Jr. sitting back in that second spot. He's about 6 seconds back as slowly but surely Ron Schutte, he is closing in. Still about a second faster on the lap times each and every time around this track, so he is closing the distance. I am just not sure he has enough time to actually get there, because he's going to have to get to John McMillan Sr. first, and he's going to have to dispose of him rather quickly if he's going to have any shot at running down this man right here on the screen, your race leader, your pole sitter, your points leader. I just thought of it. I've got Big Mac because, you know, John McMillan Sr. So, race fans, what do you say? We got Little John up here at the front of the field. Little John in the 15 and Big Mac back there in the 75 running in those top two spots. We'll run with that until we get told not to. Just 6 laps remaining now for your race leader, Little John, at the front of the field. The 15 has been into the outside wall, has some damage, but able to use the fuel strategy, the tire strategy to his advantage. And now he enjoys a 5-second advantage as he makes his way to turn 3. Off of 4, back to the stripe, this time by high five for your race leader. 5 laps now remaining. Can he pilot this iRacing sponsored AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series machine to victory lane on back-to-back race weekdays? Can he make it back-to-back race wins to start the chase? Can he lock out round number 1 with the victories? We'll have to wait to see if he's got enough fuel. It's going to be quite close as he crosses the line this time by. Now just 4.5 seconds separates Little John from Big Mac. First and second on the track. Ron Schutte able to get himself back on the lead lap after pitting back on lap number 83. He has got at least 10 lap fresher tires. He's able to close in, but that gap beginning to go away. Ron Schutte starting to slow the pace, not quite clicking off the laps that he was able to moments ago, and Schutte is not gonna get there. He very well may take that second spot away, but I don't believe he's going to have any shot at catching up with this man. And then we've got a battle beginning to develop here. There you can see Todd McGregor in that 71 machine. He's closing in on not just Donald Bennett in the 31, but look at the driver just in front of him. That's that 28 of Ron Schutte in the iHeartRadio Toyota Camry. Can he keep that third spot? That's more important now to Ron Schutte, is can he walk away from the track and keep a podium spot? He's got the 71 closing in quite quickly now down the backstretch. Popsicle sticks for your race leader last time by, as he is already making his way back down the backstretch. My goodness, John McMillan Jr., he's going to have enough gas. He's going to get the job done. Going to try to stay right here with this battle for just a brief moment. Now down to the inside. Here comes McGregor on the Schutte. Battle for the third and final podium spot as your race leader comes across the line this time by. White flag in the air. Final lap for John McMillan Jr. as now McGregor slowly looks to take that third spot away, and now Schutte's got nothing left McGregor gonna take that third and final podium spot away. They've still got one lap to battle it out, but we'll watch your race leader make his way into turn number 3 and now out of 4 for the final time, stretching the field to just 2 stops on the night. Here he comes, back-to-back race wins, captures the flag, your race winner, the 15 of Little John. John McMillan Jr. goes to victory lane for the first 2 races here in the chase. Looking at the timing and scoring, we'll look at this as they cross the line. McGregor holds off Shooty after taking that spot with just 2 laps to go. Heck of a battle back here throughout the field after the race win was already pretty much decided at that point in time. We'll jump back up live with your race leader. Does he have any fuel left to even do a burnout? We'll have to wait to see how all that plays out and shakes out there for that 15 of John McMillan Jr. And I don't think he's got any more fuel left there. You can see him very, very slow on the track. So as he very well may need some help down pit road, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break. Get things set up for your post-race interview, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. back trackside at the conclusion of tonight's Twista 110. Let's see if we can't break in and have a few of these post-race interviews. Let's see if we can't catch in and have a few words with the driver that walked away with that third and final podium spot here tonight. Let's see if we can't dial up that 71 of Todd McGregor. It's Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, Dave.
Hey, man, how you doing? How you feeling after snatching that third and final podium spot here late tonight?
That's what I'll call it. I kind of snatched it because I hit the wall and slow on pit road, but I was thankful that I got third. I was hoping to get some points again tonight.
Well, Todd, a solid points day for you here tonight. That can, we're done with round number 1 now here in the chase. We're going to begin round number 2. We start off at Kentucky, then head to Darlington. Either of those two races seem to be one of the ones that you're going to have to focus a little bit more on to try to make your way to Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm going to say Kentucky's not one of my favorite tracks. It's haven't quite got that one figured out yet. And then Darlington's just Darlington.
Well, I like the way you put that. Darlington is just Darlington. It's a beast all unto itself. Well, Todd, man, it's been a pleasure catching up with you all season long here tonight. A little rough go here tonight, but fortunately for you and the 71 crew, you were able to snatch away a podium position here late in the going and walk away with a good finish. So with all that being said, you want to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody on the side of that 71?
No, just thank my family and thank you guys for putting on this show. It's pretty awesome. And, you guys that televise, it's pretty professional work.
Well, we do appreciate the kind words there, Todd, and we'll look to see if we can't catch up with you and see if you don't have a good race there at Kentucky. We'll see how it goes. What do you say?
Well, I like coming up here to the booth and talking to you guys, so I'm going to do my very best.
All right, my man. Well, we'll look forward to catching up with you there or possibly the week after at Darlington. Either way it goes, I know we'll be talking to you before the end of the season, so you have yourself the rest of the good night or the rest of you know what I mean.
I do. Thank you guys so much.
There you go. Final words from the driver that walked away from the track here in the third place. Kind of snatched it there after having some troubles on the track into the outside wall and then some trouble on pit road, as you heard him say there, but able to still slot away with that third place here tonight. Heck of a job, heck of a run by that 71 of Todd McGregor. Now let's see if we can't grab a word or two with the driver that walked away in second place here tonight. Let's see if we can get the channels right. There it is. Looks like we've got them now. Let's see if we can't dial up that 75 of John McMillan Sr. It's Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
I do, Dave.
Hey, bud. How you doing? How you feeling after a solid P2 finish?
I'm feeling real good about that, and then to have my son win the race, that's a pretty good deal.
Absolutely, there the McMillan clan representing here at Kansas Speedway, 1 and 2 on the track. Man, a heck of a run for you here. Walk us through a little bit of the strategy. Was that something kind of worked out pre-race, or did you adjust on the fly?
I was more on the fly. I was going to stay out just because I figured I might get a top 5 if I could stay out, and it turned out my son stayed out, and then he said if we drag out the laps, he goes, it looks like we could make it. So we were in conserve mode, certainly the last few. I think he said something like 37 on our first run, and that set us up so that we only had to do a 2 pit stop and get the finishes that we did.
Absolutely. You guys ran the longest on the fuel and tires on both of your stints actually out there. So extending both runs, and that played right into your hand. And I do want to mention you're doing a heck of a job in the point standings. I coined it the best of the rest drivers that did not make the chase, but you're at that top spot coming into tonight's race, and with this solid second place finish, you're going to increase that lead, and you very well might jump a few of these drivers that failed to make a few of these races lately. So a heck of an end of the season for you and that 75 crew. Before we let you go, though, Big Mac, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody on the side of that 75?
Yeah, I'd like to give my wife a big shout out and thanks. She's supported me. This is my second go around. My son asked me to come back to iRacing, and I did. And I'd like to thank him for having me come back. And he's also the team owner of our race team, which we call Mac Attack. So those are the ones I'd really like to thank.
All right, John. Well, man, it was a pleasure catching up with you post race and a pleasure watching you out there all night long. And we'll see if we can't catch up with you a little bit later on before we end out this season.
That'd be awesome, Dave. And also like to give you a thanks for the broadcasting that you do. The job you do is just top notch.
Well, we do appreciate those kind words, John. And as we said, man, heck of a run here tonight. Great, solid second place finish. And we'll see if we can't catch up with you in one of these final 3 races. I think you got another podium in you. We just got to kind of pull it on out.
God, I sure hope so. Thanks a lot, Dave.
There you go. Final words from Proud Papa right there. Big Mac from the Mac Attack team. John McMillan Jr., Sr., walking away in that second spot. And I said John McMillan Jr. because we're going to get to him here in just a moment. He walked away from the track with the race a win once again. That's going to make it back-to-back wins for John McMillan Jr. Let's see if we can't dial up that 15. Hey, John Jr., it's Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you loud and clear, Dave.
Well, hey, man, I got to give you a new nickname because I started doing it there late in the race. You can't be mad at me. Little John is now your new name instead of John Jr. I'm just going to go with Little John, and we're going to roll with it. What do you say?
That sounds great, Dave. I'm okay with that.
Well, man, first and foremost, heck of a race win. Back-to-back race-winning nights here on Monday night in the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series, but more importantly, able to sweep the first round of the chase. How good does that feel?
It feels good. I just hope I can keep this up through the rest of the chase and hopefully have a championship on my hand.
Well, looking forward, we spoke to Todd McGregor about this coming up next week. Kentucky Speedway, then we head to Darlington Raceway. Those are the next 2 races before we cut things off for the drivers that are going to have vie for the championship in Phoenix. Out of those 2 races, which one is on your radar as the one that maybe might catch you out a little bit?
100% Darlington. It scares me. I don't know. I don't do well with running up near the wall, and I know that's one of those tracks where you kind of got to run close to the wall. That's just the fast line there. But I'm just going to try and practice, turn as many laps before the race as I can, and see how comfortable I can get.
Well, John, man, this makes your 4th race win on the season. A heck of a tear late in the goings for you. Have had a great run so far here. Walked into tonight's race with the points lead. You walked away with the pole position. I'm not quite sure on the laps led. It's pretty close there, but I think you may have walked away with that as well, the race win. So that's going to improve your point standings going into round number 2. Heck of a job here tonight, as we've already said. And before we let you go, enjoy this race win with your proud papa there in second place, man. How about that? Mac Attack 1 and 2. But with that being said, go ahead, Mike's yours. Shout outs, love views, anything you want.
Definitely going to thank my dad on that one a lot. We both communicated well with saving fuel and where we were at. Pitted on the same lap. That worked out really well. Just thank my family as well. Thank you, Dave. Thank all the admins and the drivers that we race with. It's all fun. I love it.
All right, well, Little John, we'll look to catch up with you next week at Kentucky or maybe even Darlington.
That sounds good, Dave. We'll see you then.
There you go. Final words from your race winner, back-to-back race winning Monday nights in the AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards series for Little John in that 15 machine. Heck of a job he was able to do here in these past 2 races of the chase. Walk away with sweeping the first 2 races. Sorry, had a little bit of a moment once again. I have those from time to time, race fans, you guys know that. But able to walk away with back-to-back race wins, sweep round number 1. Can he get that job done in round number 2? who's going to be the driver that steps up and solidifies themselves as a championship contender. We'll have to wait to see how all that plays out over the next 3 races. But my goodness, what a race we had tonight. What a run by a lot of the drivers out there. And it looks like producers hitting those buttons in the background. You know the familiar sound. It's time to run down tonight's unofficial race results. Gonna be a short little list here tonight for the Twister 110 in Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. Top spot, back-to-back race win, sweeping round number 1 in the chase, the 15 of Little John Macmillan Jr. Walking away in second spot, that's right, 1-2 for the Mac Attack Racing Team. Big Mac, John Macmillan Jr. gonna walk away in that second spot. Todd McGregor, overcoming adversity, gonna walk away in the third and final podium position. Good solid run all night long for that iHeartRadio Toyota machine piloted by Ron Schutte, gonna walk away in a fourth here tonight. The 59 of Jim Thorndike gonna round out your top 5, while Jason Branch had trouble on pit road. Speeding penalty puts that 22 behind the 8 ball. He'll finish the first car 1 lap down for 4X Racing. Branch gonna walk away in 6th. 7th place here tonight goes to Kutztown, Pennsylvania's Donald Bennett. Ryan Douglas gonna walk away from the track in the 8th position, while Larry Poling finishes in 9th. Robert Goulard with trouble here tonight. Mechanical issues forces that 45 back behind pit wall before he can get a lap in. Tough break for Goulard. He'll walk away in 10th. And as always, can't forget them, some of the biggest, most important parts here tonight. Your race control, your race officials here tonight, and not just tonight, but every night here in Swift Motorsports. Big time shout out over there to Race Control, Gary Wells, and the Cuban Missile Rocket, Roy Fernandez, keeping all the drivers straight, keeping them all in line. Not very needed here tonight as we stayed green flag racing from flag to flag. Another complete clean and green race here for Swift Motorsports AYERS iRacingPaints Arca Menards Series. And as we've said before, if you haven't already, throw these drivers a thumbs up, click subscribe, and smash that bell over there on the right hand side. Get notified anytime we go live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Whether it's myself, Darkside Dave in the Cave, or anybody else back at the Turn 3 headquarters, we do appreciate each and every one of you each and every time you stop by. And if you haven't already, toss these drivers a thumbs up. And with that being said, race fan, new day, new year, stay safe, stay loved, my friends, and until next time, we'll meet you in Turn 3.